Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with New York-based jazz pianist Jill McCarron. We caught up with her about her new 2024 CD, The Gin Suite, Surviving COVID, and her life in music that is quickly taking off. Born in Minneapolis, Minnesota, she spent her childhood and teen years in Canada. After she was awarded a Canadian Council grant, she made her move to New York City, where she attended the new school. Over the years, she has worked with the likes of Randy Brecker, Vincent Herring, Braden, Russel Malone, and at premier joints all over New York City. She's got quite a story. Dig in.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out for Neon Jazz. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
I love the music. I've ecstatically played it on the show already, so
Woo!
It's great to kind of I love the Gin Suite. I really want to kind of delve into your world of music. So to begin with, 4 years ago, the pandemic started, and I'm curious how you survived that time period and how did it change you?
Well, I don't have a typical answer to this because, and I don't in any way, I know everyone had struggles and challenges, which I did too. But for me, the minute everything shut down, I said to myself, it's my opportunity to compose and do the kind of music work that there's just no time to do when you're running out to gigs every night. And so I got to work and I did Jazz Motif, which was my last recording. And that's the first recording that I released as a leader, and it did just shockingly to me well on the radio charts. It just got so much good feedback. And it was just immensely satisfying to be able to tackle the music that's always with me. I always have so many ideas that I want to be able to flesh out, and it gave me the time to do that. So actually, it was the best time in my whole life. And I'm sure most people wouldn't say that, but yeah.
No, you'd be surprised at how many silver linings people have had during this time. So I get it.
Well,
so you're late. Yeah. What's that?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, yes, of course. It's all across the board. For some people, it was very challenging. For others, I'm sure it changed things in a way that enabled them to, just experience things in a different way that was good for them. So, yeah.
So your latest album was Gin, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. That's the album that I've spotlighted on the show. How did this more than, kind of being a part of the pandemic and being a leader now, how did all of these songs, how did Gin become the juice? How did all of this come about?
Well, I have a lot of compositions and arrangements over the years that I'm continually working on, and they're always evolving and developing. And I think I've arranged Yesterday's about 10 times. And so, for instance, Yesterday's I put together in a way like just drawing from different arrangements I'd done over the years. But this is just music that I don't feel expresses me, and that I love the elements of. It's like harmonically, and the fact that everything I do should swing madly. That's just the bottom line for me. But the Gin Suite was an idea. I was just thinking about the game of chance. So Gin the title is about the alcohol, but also about the card game and the fact that when you win it, you exclaim gin, right? Because you've won. And it's, just reflecting on how so many things in life seem to be, or, may not be, but seem to be random. And, I don't know. It was just a fun concept to explore for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm curious, how did this jazz journey begin for you? Take me back to where you were born and raised, and how these roots of jazz became who you are today.
Oh, okay. Well, I was born in Minneapolis, and my father was an English professor who got, a really plum teaching gig in Canada the next year, and he got his PhD at the University of Minnesota with a bunch of other young professors who also had the same opportunities. So they all moved to Winnipeg, Manitoba in Canada, and I grew up there. And then, various circumstances brought me to Ottawa. Then I first studied jazz in Toronto, and then I moved to New York. So that's sort of a very small nutshell. But oh no, I was going to say, so in Winnipeg, I also went to university for classical performance, and I have a classical repertoire which I continually develop as well because I love classical music as fervently as I do jazz.
So what was, who were influences? Who kind of swayed you one way or another from the jazz world early on?
Okay, my parents are very eclectic in their taste, and we had music in the house, you know, just constantly, all different styles. They had a chamber group. They played beautiful classical music, and you know, they had a party when I was little, and Sonny Terry and Brownie McGee came over and played for us. So there was a blues. You know, my dad loved the blues, and you know, we just heard all kinds of music. And when I was 12, my sister's boyfriend started playing a monk record. And at the time, I was sort of ambivalent about it. I was compelled, but I also was like, you know, what is this music? Like, it rankled with me in a certain way, but I was fascinated with it. But then when I was 16, my brother and I were listening to the radio, and Art Pepper Plus 11 came on, and it was Russ Freeman playing a piano solo. And I just bolted up, and I could hear every single note. It's not that I could play it at that point, but I just said, oh, my God, I have to do this. Like, I could hear every note as clearly as a bell. So that kind of was, you know, just the excitement was amazing at that point. And so at that point, I started to figure out how to pursue it, you know.
And so after all of these years of doing it, what do you look forward to the most? What's the best part of being a professional musician for you?
Just doing what I love. I love music more every day. I wake up in the morning, and it's just a tussle as to what I'm going to spend the most time on. I could spend 3 hours playing Bach, Mozart, Beethoven, and Scarlatti, or I could delve into, you know, just transcribing every, you know, Chick Corea or McCoy Tyner or Herbie Hancock solo that I love and going over and over it and trying to get more out of it as I do every time I do that, or just developing my chops, you know, or you know, so it's, for me, it's just like, and the better I get and the better gigs I get, the more fun it is, you know, so, and also playing for people is just a joy because the more I can communicate, the more I can involve people in what excites me so much. So it's just an amazing thing to be able to do. The dues notwithstanding, of which there are many, being a musician in New York, you know, but it's worth it.
So what was the first live jazz show you saw that blew you away?
Oh, okay. You know, in Winnipeg, we really, I mean, you know, as a teenager, I wasn't aware of jazz clubs or gigs or anything like that, but you know, a schoolmate of mine's brother, who later became quite a good jazz pianist, was playing some Oscar Peterson, and I again, I had that same response that I did to the Russ Freeman. I was just like, oh, what is that? I loved it so much. But I would say that when I went to Toronto to apply for Humber College, where I went to the jazz program, I saw some of the bands of the time, the Rob McConnell Big Band, the Phil Nimmons 9+6, you know, all the really, really excellent Toronto musicians at that time. And it was just phenomenal. I was just absolutely, you know, just enamored of it and in awe of it.
So at the end of the day, why do you love jazz? What is it that is the allure? Why do you love it so much? Because
it's so multifaceted. There's always more to find. There's always more to refine. And because it swings. I mean, there's just nothing better in the world than great swinging jazz, like for me, for my money.
So at this point in your career, are you happy with where you're at? Where do you see things kind of going and evolving as, you know, as like say here in 5 years? What are you hoping to see happen?
I never think that far ahead. I go day to day. But I will say, I really don't, because being in jazz is just too, it's such a precarious lifestyle that I just prefer to stay very close to where I am right now. But my gigs, yeah, like I never understood like the looking ahead 5 years. It's like, really? you would actually contemplate that, But I would say that things are promising to be very good. The recording just got picked up by WBGO, who's going to feature it. It's getting all kinds of press and all kinds of ads and all kinds of play, and I just think that I'm on the verge of the gigs that I really want to be doing, which is touring, which I've done in the past, but I want to be doing it as a leader, and those are the things I aspire to. So,
what's the one stage that you've always been enamored with that you would love to get on that you haven't played on yet?
The Vanguard, Village Vanguard, have not been on there. I've played pretty much everywhere else, at least once or twice, but I have never played at the Vanguard. So,
everyone has a perception of you, your family, your friends, your fans, but ultimately you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Okay. I am a very hardworking, determined person who endeavors to get the most out of my life in every aspect and to evolve and become, a better person in the process. That's how I see myself.
So if anyone wants to pick up the album in a physical copy or find out about shows, anything about your world, where's the best place for them to go?
Well, it's available on all the streaming platforms as well as Amazon. I bring them to my shows, so I have been selling some there. And my shows can be, my website is pretty, diligently up to date, so anyone can check JillMcCarron.com to find out where I'm playing. And
wonderful. Jill, this has been so nice. I specifically had to reach out and talk to you because I was so into this album, and I'm going to play more tracks off of it. I look forward to seeing more material come out as the years unfold. So thank you so much for taking a minute out today.
Thank you very much, Joe. It was really a pleasure.
Thanks for listening and tuning into another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players and minds in Minneapolis, Canada, New York City, Kansas City, and spots all over the globe, giving fans all that jazz. Thanks to Jill for her time and story. If you want to hear more Neon Jazz interviews, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to us at YouTube, and for everything Neon Jazz, go to theneonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.